This has definitely been the wildest year in terms of in-season trades for the Toronto Raptors, and with the trade deadline just around the corner, all eyes are pointing on what Masai Ujiri and Bobby Webster are going to do next. And Adrian Wojnarkoski just gave us a recent little update in regards to the Toronto Raptors' probably biggest trade chip that's most likely to get dealt over the next week in Bruce Brown. So we'll discuss that, including a Raptors 905er breaking out. And frankly, I know there's a lot of G Leaguers that have big performances and have big moments, but I would like to see him actually on the main roster at some point, whether it's this season or next. And a Toronto Raptors legend ended up retiring. So lots of stuff to break down this vid. But before we do, folks, again, we want to keep you up to date with all the latest Raptors news. So if you're part of the 58% of our viewers that are not subscribed to the channel, definitely hit that subscribe button so you won't miss a single thing regarding this Toronto Raptors team. But let's dive into the news, because Adrian Wojnarkoski recently came out with a little Bruce Brown trade update, and it's encouraging, because I know there's been a multitude of teams that have been thrown out regarding Bruce Brown. The list includes the New York Knicks, the LA Lakers, the Miami Heat, the Milwaukee Bucks, the Dallas Mavericks, the Golden State Warriors, just to name a few. So it feels like at least a third of the NBA is interested in acquiring, the Denver Nuggets as well, acquiring Bruce Brown here at this point, but nothing's really happened. And obviously we had that sort of, emotional high with OG Anunoby getting traded, and then all the Pascal Siakam rumors escalating to the point where he ended up getting traded as well. And now it feels like things have sort of calmed a little bit, especially with the trade deadline around the corner. And people are wondering, hey, is Masai Ujiri done? Are all these trades came in such succession? Are we just going to hold back and wait to the offseason? Well, Adrian Wojnarkoski dropped a little Threads bomb recently and basically came out in response to these questions and to these updates. And I don't know if I would call it a bomb, a little spark, a little firework. Need to create one of those graphics. But basically, when asked about any traction in terms of a Bruce Brown getting traded next week with Wednesdays with Woj, basically Toronto is fielding offers. There is lots of interest. There is no rush. So what does this mean? Because again, with all the reports that have come out, it feels like, hey, the Knicks have been mentioned a bunch, but there hasn't been a lot of new stuff regarding the New York Knicks. Does that mean trades have fallen apart or anything like that? No. This report clearly signifies that the Toronto Raptors are currently hearing everyone out, and as they should, they are waiting till the trade deadline. They are waiting till, because usually how these trade deadlines go, and it might be skewed for Raptors fans right now because we made two blockbuster trades, with a month and 2 weeks ahead of this year's trade deadline, but it's usually the last 2 days in front of the deadline where teams start getting desperate and teams really have enough evaluation of their roster and then are able to make decisions, are comfortable sort of making moves, making changes, and all these types of things. So that's when the Raptors can really leverage the whole situation because, again, Bruce Brown's under contract, under team control if we want him for the next 2 seasons. So there is no crazy rush to sort of deal him away or anything like that here now at this point if we don't want to. He's a very flexible contract. It's not like OG or Pascal Siakam where we need to get the best offer available and then sort of figure things out at that point. Bruce Brown, the Raptors have all the leverage in this scenario. So we should really bleed these teams dry, get all the info in terms of what teams are willing to offer, watch how things play out, and then when teams get desperate at the last minute, when maybe their number one trade target or their plans kind of fall apart a little bit, maybe injuries happen and stuff, Masai Ujiri can really cash in for the most value possible. So it's a lot of interest coming from Woj. The market hasn't died down whatsoever, but the Raptors are not in a rush to sort of make a deal happen and, sell for 80 cents where they could have gotten $1. So definitely keep your eyes peeled. I think the Toronto Raptors are going to be making some major shakeups ahead of this year's trade deadline. So all the rumors and all the reports that have come out, in recent days, that's all going to build up to, next week when everything's going to really explode. So that's the Bruce Brown trade update. I mean, who wouldn't want Bruce Brown? 12 points per game, 5 rebounds, 30. It says his contract is a little big, but you have control. He's only 27 years old. And if he fit the Toronto Raptors play style-wise, I'd like to keep him on this Raptors group. But again, he kind of is a bit redundant, especially at that $20 million per year price tag with RJ Barrett, Scotty Barnes out there on the wings. We do have a lot of wing players. So we can expect Bruce Brown to potentially get dealt. But the next thing we're taking a look at is a Raptors prospect breaking out. Now, he's not super young. He's not a guy that, is just fresh out of college or something like that in terms of development. But Justice Winslow is a player that I know a lot of Raptors fans were pumped about when we ended up signing him. I think I don't even know what point we ended up signing Justice Winslow, but basically he's been brought into this team, and now with the 905, he's dealing with some injuries, and he's fought, over the past, he's played about 10 games now with the 905. We've gotten a decent sample size with him, and as he gets healthier and healthier and healthier, we all know what Justice Winslow is capable of. I mean, we played a playoff series against him back in 2016. He was pegged as a guy that had a lot of developmental potential, and he's shown flashes of it over his NBA career. But just as he starts his ascent, he always just ends up getting injured and things like that. But now with the Raptors 905, he's showing that he might actually have some gas left in the tank. I mean, he's only a dude, again, he feels like he's been around the league forever. He's only 27 years old, but this season for the G League, for the Raptors 905, averaging 17 points per game, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, and those numbers are going to increase because I don't think they are take into account basically the most recent performance, as the most recent game that he played in for the Raptors 905, he went absolutely off, dropping 31 points, 10 rebounds, only 1 assist, and he's usually a guy that's a pretty solid facilitator. But, the three-point shooting, again, it's average in terms of a guy that's going to be on the wing potentially at the NBA level with just 34%, so not bad, but definitely solid and playable. The free throw shooting could definitely increase, but the reason why I look at Justice Winslow in the G League and say, hey, he's a guy I'd like on this Toronto Raptors roster, potentially for the future, second half of the season, bring him up, let something happen, because when we have a roster spot open here now at this point, but, or potentially, we'll see how it all shakes out with waivings and stuff. Kira Lewis Jr., I'm not sure if he's going to be at the G League, the full roster, all that type of things, but Justice Winslow is a guy that we lost OG Anunoby, we lost Pascal Siakam. Adding some front court depth to this team, particularly at the defensive end, is going to be crucial for the squad if we want to turn things around immediately, because I don't think Masai Ujiri wants a long and drudgeous rebuild. We want to sort of be back in contention for next year if deals end up sort of happening. And while Winslow, yes, the injuries have piled up over the course of his career, which has limited his ability to burst out, but now with the 905, we're seeing his ability to slash the lanes, dunk on people. The jump shot looks solid enough to be playable at the NBA level, and then the defense that he provides, plus the sort of playmaking at that forward position, again, am I calling to start him? No. Am I thinking he's going to take that major developmental leap Miami Heat fans were hoping for when he was on the team originally? No. But to come in and be like a replacement player that can do similar things to Scotty Barnes, at a lower tier, but you don't have to completely change your strategy when Scotty Barnes comes out and you throw in Justice Winslow. I mean, that could be a really nice fit for this team. And if he can stay healthy, and then he's only 27 years old, he might be getting a steal if we could sign a cheap, longer-term deal for him on the Raptors' actual main roster for the future. So definitely keep an eye on for Justice Winslow because he's getting better and better each game. That last game felt like a breakout performance. So let me know what you guys think about him potentially being on the core group for the future. But the last thing we're taking a look at is a Raptors legend retires. And shout out to Marc Gasol. As news came out, some may have assumed he already retired because he's been out of the NBA for a little bit, but basically news has come out that Marc Gasol, 2019 NBA champion, has retired from professional basketball. And the Spanish center has been playing in his home country since his last NBA appearance in 2021, but just want to say congratulations to Marc Gasol. Absolute legend. The parade will, much less the championship and all that type of stuff, because, he was a starting integral piece to that Raptors defense, spaced the floor, his offense, that he generated just being in that high post position for Toronto, really, and again, we made a video on Jonas Valanciunas yesterday about how much of a fan favorite he is and all that type of stuff. We don't win that ship without Marc Gasol. It's just the point of it. He's a legend, and then that parade solidified him in terms of Raptors fans probably calling for the jersey to retire, at least on every Toronto Raptors bus for the future. Marc Gasol in that championship parade. So shout out to Marc Gasol winning, retiring. Probably could do whatever, like announcing or things like that. We'll see what he does in the future. But let me know what you guys think about all this Toronto Raptors news. You guys best make it as far. Subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already. I'm signing out. Cheers.